life, with all its unpredictability, suffering, and absurdity, often feels like a chaotic and unmanageable force. Yet, in this chaos, Friedrich Nietzsche offers us a powerful invitation to confront it, not as a force that we must escape, but as something that can fuel our greatest transformation. Nietzsche believed that in a world without inherent meaning or higher order, it is not chaos that defeats us, but our inability to embrace and create meaning in the face of it. To truly live is to confront chaos head-on, to use it as the very medium through which we forge our own meaning. At first glance, the idea of finding meaning in chaos might seem impossible. How can we create something valuable in a world that feels broken, random, and indifferent to our struggles? Nietzsche argues that this is precisely the point. Life is not here to provide us with easy answers or comforting narratives. Instead, it presents us with an open space, filled with potential, where we have the power and the responsibility to create meaning ourselves. Chaos is not an obstacle to overcome, but a raw material from which we can forge the very essence of who we are. The first step in this journey is to accept chaos as a reality. Nietzsche's philosophy begins with the premise that life does not offer us a preordained meaning or purpose. There is no grand design, no cosmic blueprint guiding our every step. The universe, as Nietzsche saw it, is indifferent to our existence, and this can be a daunting realization. Yet instead of resigning ourselves to despair or nihilism, Nietzsche challenges us to recognize the immense freedom that this absence of meaning offers. If life has no inherent purpose, then it is up to us to create our own. In this freedom lies the power to transcend the chaos and to shape our existence on our terms. This leads us to Nietzsche's concept of the Übermensch, the overman, or Superman. The Übermensch is not a figure of perfection or dominance, but rather someone who embraces the chaos of existence and uses it as a catalyst for personal growth and creation. The Übermensch does not seek refuge in external sources of meaning or authority. Instead, they create their own values, define their own purpose, and live authentically, free from the constraints of societal norms or expectations. The Übermensch is the individual who chooses to confront the chaos not as a burden, but as an opportunity to exercise the full power of their freedom. But creating meaning in chaos is no easy task. Nietzsche was acutely aware of the challenges that come with rejecting the comforting structures of tradition, religion, and conventional morality. When we refuse to accept ready-made answers and step into the unknown, we encounter fear, uncertainty, and at times a sense of disorientation. Yet it is precisely in this space of uncertainty that we discover our true potential. Chaos, when embraced, becomes the proving ground for our strength, creativity, and resilience. The more we face the challenges of existence with courage and determination, the more we discover that we are capable of creating meaning even in the most difficult circumstances. This process of meaning-making is not passive. Nietzsche calls it an active engagement with life, a constant struggle to assert our individuality, to challenge the forces that seek to define us, and to push beyond our limitations. To live authentically, we must continually question the values and assumptions that have been handed down to us and be willing to create new ones. This is the essence of Nietzsche's philosophy, the will to power, the drive to shape and assert our existence in a world that offers no guarantees. The will to power is not about domination over others, but about the inner strength to define ourselves, to choose our own path, and to create meaning in the face of an indifferent universe. One of Nietzsche's most famous proclamations is the idea of the eternal recurrence, the notion that we must live as though we would have to relive our lives over and over for eternity, exactly as we have lived them. This thought experiment forces us to confront our choices and our actions with the utmost seriousness. Would we be satisfied with the life we've lived if we had to experience it repeatedly, with no end? The eternal recurrence challenges us to live fully, to embrace every moment with the awareness that our choices shape not only our present but our future, and perhaps our eternal return. Confronting chaos and forging our own meaning in life is ultimately about living with intention. It means choosing to create meaning from within, rather than relying on external systems or beliefs. It requires an active engagement with our own values, desires, and goals, and the courage to reject those that no longer serve us. It means taking full responsibility for the life we create and facing the uncertainty of existence with strength and resolve. Chaos is not something to fear or avoid. It is the very substance of life, and it is in that very substance that we find the potential for greatness. Nietzsche's philosophy invites us to step into the chaos and use it as the foundation for our self-creation. It challenges us to stop waiting for the world to offer us meaning and to start actively creating our own. Life is not a passive experience. It is a dynamic process of becoming. To confront chaos is to embrace the raw material of existence and shape it into something uniquely ours. In doing so, we find that the chaos was never an enemy to conquer, but the very force that gave us the power to become who we are meant to be. Now the question remains, are you ready to face the chaos? Are you prepared to reject the conventional answers and create your own meaning, even in the face of uncertainty? The world will not give you the answers, but you have the power to create them. The time to act is now. Step into the chaos, embrace your freedom, and begin the process of creating your own meaning in life. The only limits are the ones you impose on yourself. Will you choose to live fully, to engage with the uncertainty, and to forge your own path? The power to create meaning is within you. In Nietzsche, the idea of confronting chaos is not an attempt to escape it or eliminate it. Instead, it is a radical acceptance that chaos is an inevitable part of human existence. The world around us doesn't offer easy answers nor ready-made meanings. In fact, it often seems disordered, unpredictable, even cruel. The illusion of order and purpose is stripped away, and what remains is a universe where we are free to create our own reality. Freedom for Nietzsche is not the absence of challenges or the elimination of pain, but the capacity to, even in the face of adversity, create something meaningful out of the chaos that surrounds us. Confronting chaos, then, requires courage. It's not a passive act of waiting for life to provide clarity, but an active engagement with life as it is, with all its uncertainties and imperfections. Chaos is not something to be feared, but something to be explored. It is through this confrontation that we truly find our creative capacity. It's not about seeking ready-made answers or a universal truth, but about acting and shaping our life according to our own values, our own beliefs, even if they are at odds with societal expectations or established conventions. Nietzsche challenges us to be the creators of our own existence. We are responsible for our lives, and it is through action and conscious choice that we become who we are. We are not products of chance or destiny. We are the architects of our reality. Chaos is merely the backdrop against which the creation of our lives takes place. And the more we accept this freedom and responsibility, the more we can define who we are in an authentic and unique way. The challenge is to live fully, reject imposed values, and create our own meanings. This creation of meaning, however, does not happen in a linear or easy fashion. Chaos, as a force of nature, constantly challenges our beliefs and puts us to the test. But as Nietzsche suggests, it is in this turbulent environment that we find true human potential. What he calls the will to power is not a quest for control or domination over others, but the inner strength that allows us to overcome life's difficulties, use chaos to our advantage, and transform it into something that holds meaning for us. True freedom comes from the ability to turn chaos into a tool for our self-overcoming. This process of overcoming and creating is not a one-time event. Nietzsche proposes that life is a continuous process of transformation. We are constantly called to reinvent ourselves, to challenge ourselves, and to create new meanings as we face the difficulties that arise. By accepting chaos and uncertainty as inevitable parts of life, we are not surrendering to passivity or despair. On the contrary, we are actively choosing to shape our responses to chaos, using our freedom to assert our individuality and authenticity. This authenticity is found, according to Nietzsche, when we recognize that there is no purpose given by others or external forces. We are not born with a preset meaning or destiny. Instead, we create our own purpose through our actions and decisions. The key is to embrace the chaos, understand it as a part of the process, and transform it into the energy needed for self-creation and personal growth. In this, we discover that the chaos is not something to escape from, but something we can use to fuel our journey of self-overcoming. Thus, the path to finding meaning in a chaotic world is not a simple one. It requires immense strength, resilience, and a willingness to face the uncertainties of existence with courage. But in doing so, we create something uniquely ours. We become the creators of meaning in a world that offers none, shaping our lives by rejecting the external pressures and expectations that seek to define us. In the end, Nietzsche's philosophy teaches us that it is only by confronting chaos and accepting the responsibility of creating our own meaning that we truly live. Chaos is not our enemy. It is the very material we need to forge our existence. So the question remains, are you ready to confront the chaos of your own life? Are you ready to reject the easy answers and create your own meaning, even in the face of uncertainty? The power to shape your destiny is in your hands. The time is now. Embrace the chaos and begin to create the life that truly belongs to you. The journey of self-creation starts today. To truly embrace the chaos in life, we must first accept that it is not something to be tamed or avoided. Nietzsche teaches us that chaos is not the opposite of order, but rather an essential part of existence. It is the fertile ground from which we can cultivate meaning and define ourselves. Life will never hand us a set of preordained answers or a clear-cut path. Instead, we are tasked with taking the raw material of our experience, the confusion, the disorder, the struggle, and using it to create something unique and profound. But what does this really mean in practice? It means that we cannot wait for life to offer us clarity or comfort. We cannot depend on external systems, structures, or beliefs to tell us what our purpose is. True freedom comes from within, from the understanding that we are responsible for creating our own meaning. Chaos challenges us to step up and engage with life on our own terms, to act decisively, even when the world around us feels like a storm of uncertainty. This process requires us to cultivate strength, not strength in the sense of overpowering others or controlling circumstances, but strength in the face of uncertainty. It is the strength to act with conviction, to make choices that align with our deepest values, even when there are no guarantees. Nietzsche's concept of the will to power is not about dominating others, but about mastering ourselves. It is the ability to harness the energy that chaos provides and use it to fuel our personal evolution. At its core, Nietzsche's philosophy asks us to become creators of our lives. We must not wait for life to give us meaning. We must create it ourselves. This creation is not a one-time act. It is an ongoing process. We are continually called to question the values that have been handed to us, to reject those that no longer serve us, and to replace them with values that reflect our true selves. Each moment offers an opportunity to shape our lives, to make choices that reflect our inner truth, and to move forward into a future that we have consciously crafted. However, this process is not easy. It requires us to face our fears, confront our doubts, and break free from the influence of others. Society, family, and culture often try to dictate what we should value and how we should live. Nietzsche challenges us to reject these external definitions and to create our own. This does not mean living in isolation or rejecting the wisdom of others, but rather it means living in accordance with our own understanding of what is valuable and meaningful. As we confront chaos, we also confront ourselves. The chaos of life reveals the parts of us that we often try to suppress or ignore. It exposes our weaknesses, our vulnerabilities, and our fears. But it is in these moments of confrontation that we have the opportunity to grow, to strengthen ourselves, and to evolve. We are not defined by the chaos, we define ourselves by how we respond to it. Through our choices and actions, we demonstrate who we are and what we stand for. Nietzsche's philosophy calls us to embrace the fullness of life, to accept its messiness, its unpredictability, and its challenges, and to use it all to create meaning. Life is not something that happens to us. It is something that we actively shape. By facing the chaos, by refusing to succumb to the external pressures that seek to define us, we begin to live authentically. We step into our power as creators of our own meaning, and in doing so we transcend the limitations of the world around us. As we continue to navigate this journey, it's important to remember that we are not striving for perfection. The goal is not to find an ideal state of being, but to engage in the ongoing process of self-creation. Nietzsche's vision of life is not about achieving a final, unchanging goal, but about living fully and embracing the constant flux of existence. The struggle itself, the act of creating meaning in a chaotic world, is what gives life its depth and richness. This process is not for the faint of heart. It requires immense courage to step into the unknown, to act without the comfort of certainty or the validation of others. But it is in this courage, in this willingness to confront the chaos head-on, that we find our true strength. Each step forward, each decision to embrace the uncertainty, builds our resilience and brings us closer to the authentic life we seek. As we forge our own meaning in the face of chaos, we must also remember that we are not isolated beings. Our freedom is intertwined with the freedom of others. As we create our own values, we also have the power to influence the world around us. The act of creating meaning is not only a personal journey, but one that can ripple outward, inspiring others to do the same. By embracing our own freedom and responsibility, we encourage others to embrace theirs. In this way, chaos becomes not just a personal challenge, but a shared experience, one that we can navigate together, creating a world where individuals are free to define themselves on their own terms. So as you continue on this journey, remember that the chaos you encounter is not a barrier, but a stepping stone. It is the raw material from which you will forge your own meaning. Embrace it. Don't run from it. Use it to create, to challenge, and to redefine your life. You are not defined by the chaos. You are the one who defines it. The power to create meaning is in your hands, and it is through the courage to face chaos that you will discover the depths of your own potential. As we move further into Nietzsche's view on chaos and meaning, it becomes clear that creating meaning in a chaotic world requires a level of authenticity that is rarely seen in the world around us. Authenticity in this context is not simply about being true to oneself in a superficial way, but about digging deep into the complexity of existence and choosing to live from a place of personal truth. Nietzsche challenges us to embrace the reality of life's absurdity, to stop hiding behind societal norms or comforting illusions, and to face the chaos with open eyes, ready to create something real from it. Chaos is not inherently destructive, as many would think. Instead, it is fertile ground for creation. When we stop seeking order in the external world, we free ourselves to build our own framework of meaning. The chaos we confront is not a force that needs to be tamed. Rather, it is a force to be used, a resource that allows us to invent, reinvent, and redefine our values and our place in the world. Every chaotic moment is an opportunity for transformation. Each time we are challenged, we are given a chance to show up as the person we are meant to be, not as we've been conditioned to be. Living authentically in the face of chaos means accepting that life doesn't follow a straight line. Ways, path will not always be clear, and the answers won't always be obvious. But the beauty in this lies in the fact that we are not bound to a single story. We are free to write our own narrative. This is the freedom Nietzsche speaks of. The freedom that arises when we acknowledge that we are not bound by external forces or inherited meaning. Instead, we have the power to define ourselves, to choose how we respond to the world, and to create our own path forward. However, this freedom comes with responsibility. The more we recognize that we are the creators of our own meaning, the more we must take responsibility for our choices. This is where many people falter. It's easier to blame circumstances, to wait for life to give us purpose, than to step up and take ownership of our existence. But Nietzsche's call is not for easy answers. It is for radical self-creation. It is about choosing to live authentically, without hiding from the chaos or the discomfort it brings. To embrace freedom, we must embrace responsibility. responsibility for the life we create and for the world we shape with our actions. This responsibility is not something to be feared. It is not a burden to carry alone, but a call to engage fully with life, to become the best version of ourselves in the process. By accepting that we are responsible for shaping our meaning, we empower ourselves to step into the world with confidence, creativity, and purpose. The fear of failure or the uncertainty of the future no longer hold us back because we understand that the act of creating meaning is, in itself, an achievement. Each choice we make to live authentically is an act of creation. Living authentically in the face of chaos also means making peace with the idea that we will never have complete control. The chaos of life will never fully be tamed or understood. There will always be uncertainties, unknowns, and challenges ahead. But it is in accepting this uncertainty that we discover the true power of freedom. It is in our ability to act, to create, and to persist despite the unpredictable nature of life that we find our strength. Chaos does not destroy us. It pushes us to grow, to question, and to evolve into the people we are meant to become. In this sense, chaos becomes a partner rather than an adversary. It challenges us to look within, to re-examine our values, and to constantly strive for more. Each struggle, each failure, each setback is an opportunity to sharpen our character, to refine our understanding of who we are and who we want to be. It's through this process that we not only survive the chaos but thrive in it. We begin to see chaos not as an obstacle, but as an invitation to reach our highest potential, to embrace the fullness of life in all its messy, uncertain, and beautiful complexity. Ultimately, the journey of forging our own meaning in life is one that is deeply personal, but it is also profoundly connected to others. The more we embrace chaos and create meaning, the more we influence the world around us. Our actions, our choices, our commitment to living authentically ripple out, inspiring others to do the same. Nietzsche's philosophy is not one of isolation. It is one of interconnectedness. By claiming our own freedom and taking responsibility for our lives, we invite others to do the same. In this way, chaos becomes the space in which we not only create meaning for ourselves, but also for the world we share. As we continue to confront chaos and forge our own meaning, we learn to appreciate the beauty in its unpredictability. The world does not need to be perfectly ordered for us to find fulfillment. Life's meaning is not given to us. It is something we create through our engagement with the world. The true power of meaning lies in our hands. We are the artists of our own existence, and each choice we make, each action we take, is a brushstroke in the masterpiece of our lives. So as you face the chaos in your own life, remember that it is not something to fear or avoid, but something to embrace. The challenges, the uncertainties, the obstacles, these are the very things that give life its depth and meaning. The chaos is your canvas, and it is through your creativity, your choices, and your resilience that you will shape a life that is truly your own. The time is now to step into your freedom, to create meaning in the face of the unknown, and to live a life that reflects your truest self. The chaos is waiting for you to rise and create. Will you answer the call? As we move further into Nietzsche's idea of confronting chaos and forging our own meaning, we come to understand that this process is not about controlling or eliminating the uncertainty in our lives, but rather about embracing it as the very condition for self-expression and growth. Chaos for Nietzsche is not something that stands in opposition to order. It is part of the fabric of existence itself. Life is inherently unpredictable, and it is within this unpredictability that we find the freedom to define ourselves and create something meaningful. The key here is the awareness that, as human beings, we are not simply the product of external forces. We are not born with a fixed purpose nor with a set path laid out for us. Instead, we are given the raw material of existence, chaos, uncertainty, suffering, and joy. And it is through our will and our choices that we create meaning. Nietzsche encourages us to rise above the passive existence of waiting for external meaning or predefined purpose. Instead, we must accept the profound responsibility to shape our own lives, to carve out our own values, and to forge meaning through our actions and decisions. The reality of this process is that it is not without struggle. To live authentically in a chaotic world requires us to constantly challenge ourselves, to question the inherited values, beliefs, and systems that we have been taught to follow. It demands that we confront the discomfort of living without easy answers or guarantees. But it is precisely this struggle, this constant questioning and redefining of ourselves, that Nietzsche views as the essence of human life. Through struggle, we discover our potential, our capacity for resilience, and our power to create meaning. One of the most powerful ideas in Nietzsche's philosophy is the concept of becoming. Life is not about arriving at some final destination of perfection or predetermined meaning, but about the continual process of becoming who we are. This is not a passive state of being. It is an active, ongoing creation of self. It means rejecting the notion that we are ever finished, that we have reached a final understanding of who we are. Instead, to embrace the chaos is to understand that we are always in flux, always evolving and always growing. We are the creators of our own evolution, constantly shaping our identities, values, and perspectives based on the choices we make. To create meaning in chaos also requires a willingness to fail, to fall short, and to confront the reality that life will not always go as planned. This idea of failure, however, is not a defeat. Nietzsche encourages us to embrace failure not as something to avoid, but as an essential part of the process of self-overcoming. Every failure, every setback is an opportunity to refine our vision, to strengthen our resolve, and to push further into the unknown. It is in these moments of vulnerability and imperfection that we find our true strength, for it is through our responses to adversity that we truly shape our character. The act of creating meaning in chaos is not one that happens in isolation. Nietzsche emphasizes the interconnectedness of our lives with others. As we create our own values and meanings, we inevitably interact with the world around us, with other people, societies, and cultures. The choices we make not only shape our personal lives but ripple outward, influencing the world we inhabit. This means that living authentically, while a deeply individual act, also involves understanding and respecting the freedom of others. To live freely is not to disregard the needs, perspectives, or experiences of those around us, but to engage with the world in a way that fosters mutual respect and personal authenticity. In this light, chaos becomes more than just an individual experience. It is the fabric of human existence that connects all of us. When we confront our own chaos, we inevitably contribute to the collective creation of meaning. Our own actions, decisions, and perspectives can inspire others to do the same. By embracing our freedom and responsibility, we create a ripple effect that challenges others to question their own lives, their own values, and to begin the process of self-creation. This is Nietzsche's call to action, to not only confront the chaos within ourselves but to encourage others to do the same, creating a world where individuals are empowered to live fully, authentically, and with purpose. Ultimately, confronting chaos and forging meaning is an act of profound empowerment. It is an acknowledgement that despite the lack of a cosmic blueprint or predetermined purpose, we are free to create our own meaning. The chaos is not something that diminishes us, but something that fuels our greatest potential. It is in facing life's unpredictability that we discover the depths of our strength, creativity, and resilience. Every challenge, every moment of uncertainty becomes an opportunity to create, to redefine, and to assert our own existence in a world that is constantly in flux. So, as you move forward on your own journey, ask yourself, how will you embrace the chaos in your life? Will you continue to search for answers outside yourself? Or will you take responsibility for creating your own meaning? The chaos will not go away, but through your engagement with it, you have the power to transform it into something meaningful. Life is not about waiting for the world to give you answers. It is about embracing the chaos and using it as a tool for personal growth, self-overcoming, and the creation of your own purpose. The world does not define you. You define it. And in doing so, you define yourself. Will you step into the chaos and embrace the opportunity it offers? The power is within you to forge your own meaning and create the life that reflects your deepest values. The choice is yours. Embrace the uncertainty, take responsibility for your freedom, and begin to craft the life that truly belongs to you. In the face of chaos, Nietzsche's philosophy offers a transformative path. To confront it head-on, not shy away from the uncertainty of existence, but to embrace it as the canvas upon which you can create your own meaning. Life does not come with a preordained script, and the universe does not provide us with inherent purpose. Yet in this vast expanse of chaos, you have the freedom and responsibility to shape your own existence. The power to forge meaning is not something external, waiting to be discovered. It is within you, waiting to be activated by your choices, your actions, and your willingness to engage fully with the world around you. The chaos in your life is not your enemy. It is your ally, your raw material, the very thing that gives you the freedom to create. Each challenge, each uncertainty, each moment of discomfort is an opportunity for growth, for transformation, and for self-overcoming. It is through the struggle, the confrontation with what seems uncontrollable, that you discover your true strength. The power to define your life, to create your own values, and to live authentically is yours, and yours alone. But this freedom is not without responsibility. It calls for you to step into your own power, to make choices that reflect who you truly are, and to take ownership of the life you are creating. You are not passive in this process. You are the creator, the artist of your own existence. The question is, will you embrace the chaos and shape it into something meaningful? Will you choose to live authentically, to break free from external expectations and to define your life on your terms? The time to act is now. The chaos around you will not wait, but you have the ability to shape it, to find purpose in the process of creating and becoming. Step into your freedom, own your responsibility. Take the first step toward creating a life that is uniquely yours. The power to shape your destiny is in your hands. Will you choose to embrace it? The choice is yours, and it begins now.